Hey everyone, Regal Reviews here. It is White Rice Wednesday, which means it's time for my Survivor recap. So to recap on tonight's episode, they're basically dealing with the aftermath of the Zeke vote out, and Michaela was visibly upset last week, and, I think a lot of us were upset, judging by the fact what Zeke had to go through this season. And she said it like it was a tough vote for her, but she went along with Andrea anyway, and Andrea, said that Zeke's a good guy, but in the end he had to go. One of the things that I think was an eye opener for one of the contestants was Ty, that some of his own tribe mates voted for him, and I'm not sure if that's because he's doing good in challenges or because he's kind of wishy-washy. I don't know, but I kept thinking this might be the perfect episode to use one of his idols. I mean, if he feels threatened enough. So, yeah, I don't care what people say about this, but tonight was the Loved Ones episode, and I always look forward to the Loved Ones visit because, everyone's out there playing for $1 million. They all have this common goal, but you get to, and you don't really know if people are being honest all the time, but you really get to see the real them when their loved ones come out. And certain ones really got to me. Sarah, of course, she was, as soon as she heard it was the loved ones visit, she broke down, and her husband came out, and she she asked how her son was doing, and said that those two are the men in her life, that they mean the world to her. And I thought that was just very sweet because, Sarah always has this tough exterior, so it was nice to see a different side of Sarah. I was so hoping for the loved ones visit. I was hoping all season because, Brad Culpepper's on it. I was so hoping Monica would come out, and sure enough, Monica Culpepper came out for the loved ones visit, and I've always been a Monica Culpepper fan. She's probably one of my favorites to ever play the game, and again, we got to see a different side of Brad. He was crying, and he admitted to his wife that he didn't realize how hard it was for her out there, because Monica did make it to the end at one of her seasons. She was runner-up, but she made it to the end, and she appreciated that. He realized how hard it was for her. And Ty's the love of his life came out, Mark, and I thought, oh my god, are they bringing Mark the chicken back? But no, it's just Mark, his boyfriend, and I just thought that was really sweet. But the one that I think I teared up a lot of moments tonight, but the one that kind of made me tear up was Cirie. Apparently she made the sacrifice to miss her son's graduation and be out here, and her son actually came out, and it was very touching to see her son come out. So the reward challenge was interesting. Usually it's kind of like an individual reward challenge, but they each worked in groups of 3 to go through this obstacle, and it has part of the challenge from last season where you have to dig in the sand and go under, and then you have to maneuver this rope to unlock this key, and then they had to throw these sandbags to knock targets out. So the teams were Brad, Aubrey, and Andrea, Michaela, Ty, and Sarah, and I believe it was Cirie, Troyzan, and Sierra. And they were neck and neck there for quite a while, and I could see why, because this is a big reward challenge. And Ty had a really hard time getting through the digging through the sand and trying to crawl under. I mean, that was Adam Klein's downfall in the loved ones visit last season. And Cirie, at one point, they were dragging Cirie along, and it ended up being no question, Brad Culpepper won it for everyone. He did a phenomenal job knocking down those targets. So they got to have time for their loved ones, but then always comes the big decision: who to bring with you on the loved ones visit. And they made the decision to bring Cirie on, and honestly, I think I would have made that decision because she sacrificed her son's high school graduation to be out here, and I just think that that was a special time for them. And they got to choose one more, and they chose Sarah, and those are the people I would definitely would have chosen. And Michaela was visibly pissed. I'm thinking, oh my god, she's gonna have like a meltdown back at camp. And back at camp, Michaela's pissed, and she now kind of forms an alliance of Tai because, you know, both of them are on the bottom and they don't really have anybody they can trust in the game. And they kind of talk with Troyzan and Sierra as well, talking about where they're at and saying that Andrea's a big threat in the game. And then at the reward challenge, the reward, they're all having a good time together. But then Monica was out there talking survivor strategy with Brad, and Monica noticed that Michaela looked visibly upset there, and Brad says that she's been like that before, and Monica warns Brad that Michaela's gonna flip, that you need to watch because she's gonna flip on you at some point. And I thought that was nice that Monica was out there to give good advice, because WWMD, according to Brad Culpepper, what would Monica do? One of the things I thought was interesting about this episode is that Sierra decided to tell Sarah about her legacy advantage. And she explained that, you know, it's basically an immunity idol, but they can only use it at the final 6. So Sarah, you know, at first seen that as a way that she can trust Sierra, and that that she'd be a good person to work with, and that she wants to work with her. But then she realizes, because Sierra said that if she's voted off, she'll wield it to Sarah. So that's a perfect opportunity for Sarah to, they want to, the whole talk of this episode is that they want to break up the pair, Brad and Sierra. So if Sierra is voted off, then Sarah gets that advantage. Plus, she also has that advantage where she gets to steal votes. So Sarah has a lot of opportunities at her hand right now. So the immunity challenge was a new one. They had to stand on this balance beam, and they had to hold this ball in place with these 2 handles. Like, if they moved off the balance beam, they're out, or if the ball drops, they're out. And they were all out, like, really quick. It really came down to Tai and Brad, and I thought, oh my god, is Tai gonna pull off another immunity win? And sure enough, Culpepper won the immunity challenge, and he definitely needed it tonight. So the big talk back at camp is that they want to break up the couple, Sierra and Brad, because, you know, they were in control of the game until the last vote. So they want to get off Sierra while they can. And on the other hand, the other group wants to get rid of Andrea because she has won immunity challenge, and she's basically like the female version of Ozzy. Like, if she gets to the end, if people get to the end of Andrea's gonna win. So they were talking a lot about that, and the vote's really coming down to Michaela making the choice. And at Tribal, it was interesting because Michaela pointed out that people can say stuff, but you don't know if people are a we, like working as a group, or they're just working for themselves. And Aubrey pointed out that, you know, they all want to get to the end, but basically, like, they were talking about how the 4 on the bottom are like the underdogs. Well, that's what Andrea pointed out, that the 4 on the bottom are the underdogs. So if the underdogs go to the end, that will make a good case for the jury. And Aubrey pointed out that one person's version of Survivor differs from another person, basically meaning that the jury's not all going to vote the same. There's each jury members going to have their own criteria of who deserves to win the $1 million and who they want to win and what they're going to base their voting process on. And I really thought tonight was going to come to a tie vote. I really didn't know if Andrea or Sierra was going to go home, and sure enough, Sierra went home. And I gotta say, I was definitely proud of Sierra this season. Her previous season on Worlds Apart, I found she was just a whiny baby the whole time, and she was just a very annoying person. But this time, I think she really did turn herself around. She was in charge of the alliance there for quite a while, and she was able to form relationships out there, and I definitely don't think she was a GOAT this season at all. And, Sierra had a nice moment with her dad, and I think her dad actually gave good advice, saying that, in life there's going to be people that try to knock you down, but you basically need to take the high road and show that it doesn't bother you, and I really love that advice. That advice, I thought would come in handy for me. But yeah, no offense to Andrea. I mean, I definitely thought they would take Andrea out. I think it's stupid to keep her in the game right now because she's probably one of the biggest threats out there. I gotta give a hand to Sarah though. I think that move was brilliant. She, wanted to work with Sierra, but like she said, she's not out here to make friends. She's out there to win $1 million. And I thought Sierra telling Sarah that she has a legacy advantage was her downfall. But on the other hand, Sarah deciding that, oh, well, she trusts me enough that she's going to wield me the advantage if she's voted off. I mean, that's a big move, and that's putting a lot of trust in her because you don't know for sure if Sierra's going to wield that to Sarah. I mean, I thought, would she wield to Sarah? Will she wield to Brad Culpepper? And sure enough, at the end of the episode, she reveals that she wielded to Sarah. So Sarah has two advantages currently in her pocket. She has an immunity that she can use at when there's 6 people left in the game, and she has the advantage where she can steal a vote. So Sarah's at a really good place in the game right now. So the previews for next week show that tensions are high, and apparently there's an argument between Michaela and Culpepper, and basically what Culpepper was saying is that Michaela was acting like a diva, and we all know that, but Culpepper said he's not going to take orders from her. And it looks like Cerie's having a hard time. I don't know if it's with the whole Michaela situation or what, but she's having like a hard time coming to a decision like who to vote for, and I guess Ty's trying to help her. So it will be interesting next week. I will be in Disney World next week. Yay! So I'm not 100% if I will be able to watch next week's episode, so I'll have to watch that when I come home, or just make a short recap on my thoughts on who got voted off. So I hope you guys enjoyed tonight's Survivor. If you guys want to check out Survivor, it is on Wednesdays, 8 p.m. on CBS. Until next time, stay regal.